Ryan Anderson here, the driver of Son of a Digger, and you're watching Rod Rod's Championship League.
What is going on, everybody? Project Rod here, and it is time for racing. Here at the first stop of Tour Violet in Alaska, Matt Johnson and Maximum Destruction was your fastest qualifier. So he is taking the early lead here in the competition. Again, this is the leaderboards for qualifying, all the times that everybody got. So Maximum Destruction, Northern Nightmare, Avenger, and Dragon all getting a bye run into round 2. But this is the current leaderboards. Again, everything's going to mimic. It's not going to be until stop 2 that you're going to start seeing a little bit of a difference. But as of now, everything's going to just copy through and be the same. So the rules for racing, again, no turbos to be used during racing. It says qualifying there, but it should say racing. It will result in a disqualification, to be sure that both front tires are within the ramps, finish ramps, and smoke gates. Again, this is the W Racing bracket here for stop 1 of Tour Violet. Again, use code Project Rod to receive 10% off of your W Energy order. Be better with W Energy. And let's go ahead and get started with racing here in stop 1 of Tour Violet. Let's go ahead and get started with round 1. As our first race coming up to the line now and getting ready to go is going to be kind of fluffy in Gravedigger versus Flames Plays in Pirate's Curse. Seeing what they can do today, and both looking for a win there. Gravedigger may have been facing a penalty there. I'm not sure. That kind of looked a little close to the out of bounds area. He has a pretty good lead over Pirate's Curse right now, though. Pirate's Curse kind of slugging along a bit. Not sure what's going on there. Gravedigger coming to the finish. Pirate's Curse coming now too. And looking at the replay for Gravedigger, it's a close call, but it looks like he's on top of the smoke gate. So that being said, he should be good to go. No penalty will be given, so he'll be moving on to round 2 to face Maximum Destruction. Here comes Riley Strider and Blue Thunder versus the Camera 9785 in Zombie. And I believe the winner of this race will be facing Avenger, if I'm not mistaken. So already Zombie, a little bit of a hiccup in the first turn. Riley Strider taking advantage of that and progressing a little bit further. Coming to the UE now, a little bit of a hiccup, but it shouldn't mess him up at all. He's already on the straightaway as the Camera 9785 still trying to get past that UE. And Blue Thunder will be your winner here in this race. Zombie coming to the finish line now. Looking at the official times now. Zombie facing a penalty, but that's going to be it. Blue Thunder moving on now. Nova Strider and Crustacean versus Omboji in Jurassic Attack. Seeing what they can do here. Nova Strider, unfortunately, a small hiccup there. Hitting the crush cars. Jurassic Attack is going to capitalize on that and power through. But let's see. No. Jurassic Attack is still going to remain with that lead. And already in the straightaway going to the finish. And he is going to make it to the finish first. Getting that win over Crush Station. An unfortunate loss. But we're going to move on to the final race of round 1. Alien Invasion and MMJ Producer versus Velociraptor and Ant99. Seeing what they can do now. Hoping to avoid any penalties. Both kind of a little hiccup in that first turn. Velociraptor may have gotten a penalty. He for sure is going to get one there. That first turn, you could see it. Kind of. It was close, but that second one is definitely for sure going to be a penalty. So I don't think a replay is going to be needed. Alien Invasion getting the win. And moving on to round 2. So this is the racing bracket now for round 2. It's going to be Max D and Gravedigger, your classic matchup. Then Avenger versus Blue Thunder, Northern Nightmare versus Jurassic Attack, and then Dragon versus Alien Invasion. Let's see who's going to move on to the semifinals first. Let's get round 2 started. Again, your classic matchup. Gravedigger versus Maximum Destruction. Kind of fluffy versus Matt Johnson. Let's see who's going to take the win. Matt Johnson, again, was your fastest qualifier, putting down the fastest time of any driver here, and the only truck, if I'm not mistaken, only truck and driver to be within the 20-second range. So let's see if he can keep that here in store for racing. And it looks like he is so far a pretty good lead over Gravedigger, and he's going to take it all the way to the finish line. And Matt Johnson and Maximum Destruction taking the win with a 21.079 over Gravedigger's 22.756. Right here, taking a look, though, I guess something was brought up to the officials, but no, he's on top of the smoke gate, which again is a legal move. Taking a look at the second one, he's on top of that one. So no penalty is going to be given. He is good to go. And we're going to move on to the next race of round 2. It's going to be Blue Thunder and Riley Strider versus Avenger in Toucan Plays. Let's see if they can execute this first turn. There's been a lot of hiccups in this area specifically. So, looks like they both were able to get out of it with no problem. They may have been on top of the smoke gates, but, oh no! And some trouble for Blue Thunder! As he's hitting the crush car, he had a slight lead over Avenger. Toucan plays and Avenger gonna take the win. All the way to the finish, 22.054 for Avenger, so it doesn't look like either one will be getting a penalty. But an unfortunate break for Blue Thunder. Here comes Northern Nightmare now. Daniel Murray versus Jurassic Attack and Omboji. Omboji hitting the crush cars, but Northern Nightmare as well. Both coming to a hiccup and a little bit of an issue for them. Northern Nightmare, a great turn. Omboji as well coming to the UE. Both of them now. This is going to be a close race. Who's going to make it to the finish first? Looks like Northern Nightmare has a slight edge, and he's going to take it all the way to the win. So, an amazing close race right after a pretty stressful one. So, we have some great racing here in the first stop of Tor Violet. Now it's MMJ Producer and Alien Invasion versus Arcanine 59 and Dragon. Dragon almost being the fastest qualifier until Matt Johnson came out and put out a lightning fast time. So, I'm sure he'd love to come out with a racing win here at the first stop. Both coming to the U-turn. Dragon looks like he has a slight lead. I don't know. It's going to be a race to the finish. And Dragon getting to the finish first. 21.738 for Dragon, taking a win and moving on to the semifinal round. So, our top 4 qualifiers, fastest qualifiers, moving on to the semifinals. So now it's going to be Max D and Avenger for our first semifinal race, and then Northern Nightmare versus Dragon. So, let's get the semifinals started with Matt Johnson versus Toucan Plays. Avenger versus Maximum Destruction. Who's going to come out on top? Should be a good one here. Both going to the turn and executing it perfectly. And Matt Johnson getting an early turn in, so that may give him the advantage. He's getting to the UE first. And he may be able to take it all the way to the end, and he is going to take it all the way to the end and take the win over Toucan Plays and Avengers. So, Matt Johnson and Maximum Destruction with another 20-second time. Moving on to the final round. Now it's Arcanine 59 and Dragon versus Northern Nightmare and Daniel the Fireball Murray. Looking to see what they have in store. Dragon looks like he had a bit of a hiccup there. Not sure though. Both a great turn on the second. Now it's time for the UE. It's going to come down to who can execute it better. And it looks like Northern Nightmare may have done a better job, and he's going to take it all the way to the finish. There are some questions arising though. Did Northern Nightmare get a penalty? Right there, it's tough to see, but if you look at the tire marks, you can see that they go right over the smoke gate, so they're going to allow that and not penalize him for that. But this one right here too, another close one. But no, they're not going to give him a penalty. He'll be moving on to face Matt Johnson in the championship round. So, it's time for the W Championship race here in stop 1 of Tor Violet. Is going to be Maximum Destruction versus Northern Nightmare. Who is going to be our winner here? Our first racing winner here of the season. Black Pearl dominated in Tor Blue. Let's see who's going to dominate here in Tor Violet. Both coming to the first turn pretty well. Maximum Destruction getting kind of close to those smoke gates, but I think he's good. Northern Nightmare, though, putting up a great fight. Maximum Destruction getting to the turn first. He had the turn first and cleaner. Northern Nightmare, though, facing a penalty for sure there, going a little outside of the smoke gate, and it's going to be Maximum Destruction and Matt Johnson taking 2 competitions here in the first stop of Tor Violet in Alaska. He is your W Racing winner. So, a celebration donut for Matt Johnson as he's taken fastest qualifier and racing here in the first stop. So getting 12 crucial points yet again added to his total is going to help him out a ton as we take a look at the I guess at the leaderboard for racing and where everybody landed. So here you go. Here's the leaderboards after racing. Again, Maximum Destruction on top with 24 points. Dragon in second with 21, tied with Northern Nightmare, and then Avenger in 4th. So here's your leaderboards for the overall event championship. Again, everything's going to kind of mimic each other as we move on. So again, next competition is going to be Best Trick. Be sure to be there. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to hit that like button for more Monster Jam content, and we'll see you in the next one.